What's happening, guys? It's Boxing Lowdown, and I'm back here with another edition of FanTube. I'm delighted to be joined by my guy, Coach Chudi, man, Mr. Gatsby. It's good to have you on, bro. And again, now listen, Alexander Usyk winning a unanimous points victory over Derek Chisora, 117, 112, 115, 113 twice. How did you score it?
I think Usyk won a little bit wider than the 115, 113. I don't think it was that close. Chisora did a decent job actually of applying pressure, and he did okay. But I think that's kind of what we expected him to do. We didn't think he was going to come and outbox him. I heard his cornerman at one point, I think it was after round 9 or 10, saying to him, punch with Usyk, but he was just leaving himself open to get countered. So he was never going to outbox him. I think he did okay, but he did what we expected him to do.
Yeah. For me, it seemed like, I know Usyk's had a fight at heavyweight already against Chaz Witherspoon, but this definitely seemed to me to be, this one was his welcome fight to the division, so to speak. Chisora is kind of looked at now as a gatekeeper, I suppose.
Yeah.
Did Usyk impress you today?
He did, I like, it's very rare that I watch Usyk and I'm not impressed. I went to the Bentley fight, and even then, like, people were saying he was losing the early rounds, but it's that whole downloading thing that you say about Lomachenko as well. And I think it's just the subtle things he does, and it's the adaptations he makes as well during a fight. So, for example, he was throwing the left hand straight, and then when he realized Chisora was trying to get out of the way by slipping to his right, he started looping it. It was like the little things like throwing the lead hand uppercut. I call it front hand fencing, where you just use your front hand to distract your opponent. So like you're throwing an uppercut, but he'd throw it like with a straight arm basically. So it was coming out of Chisora's line of sight. He couldn't see it coming up. He'd throw little hooks and jabs and just mixing it up, trying to keep him distracted. Even like little things like turning the corner on Chisora. So when Chisora would throw a backhand, he'd be reaching with it. So even if it did land, there'd be no sting on it. Like I think his boxing IQ is super high. I'm always impressed when I watch Usyk.
Yeah, his boxing IQ is incredible. And you know what as well? He showed toughness tonight as well, because a lot of people, I know Chisora's looked at as a gatekeeper, but going in, everybody said that Chisora could punch, and he can. And he did land on Usyk. Usyk weren't able to, be elusive with all of those shots. And, he took them very well. Not once during the fight did it seem to me that Usyk was in trouble with anything. He was uncomfortable in the opening couple of rounds, I'd say, but never to the point where, he was rattled or wobbled really bad. So I think he showed good signs with that as well. Do you agree?
Definitely. Yeah, I think in the 11th, was the 11th where he got caught with a couple of body shots. So early in the round, he got caught with a couple of body shots and he started like sinking back, and Chisora started concentrating on the body. But then I think it was maybe like a minute and a half to go. Usyk turned it up on him and then ended up taking the round back off him. But he can be hit, he can be touched, but he didn't really look like he was in trouble at any point.
Yeah. Well, with the win, obviously now it puts Alexander Usyk as the mandatory fighter for Anthony Joshua's WBO heavyweight title. And from what we know, it seems like that Usyk's going to enforce that. So he's going to want to have that fight with AJ straight away. Do you think that that's a good idea? How do you see him getting on against the Giants? Because Chisora was a good start, but AJ and the Furies, and they're totally different level altogether.
Definitely, 100%. I think he does better against AJ than he does against Fury. I think how AJ boxed against Ruiz, against Usyk, would make a decent matchup. It might not be super exciting, but it would be a good actual like chess match. I think he does a better job against AJ than he does against Fury. I think even if you look at how AJ fought against Ruiz, it was still, there was better movement, but he's not exactly fleet of foot. He's not very swift. And a lot of it was straight lines as well, whereas Usyk, he's a lot more angles, turning the corner and trying to get around you. And I think he does a really good job of that against AJ, because whilst AJ has improved under Joby, I don't think he's up to the level of he can outbox Usyk. He's probably best that would be trying to knock him out.
Yeah. So would you recommend that he kind of goes in there, tries to not rough him up like Chisora did, but kind of impose his greater strength, his physical advantages over Usyk, rather than boxing a fight like he did against Ruiz?
Definitely, I think he hits a lot harder than Chisora does as well. So I think what he'd want to do is establish that jab, really give him something to think about. So pump it out, hit him in the face, let him feel it, and then try and land a backhand or some of these bent arm shots as well, because he does have very good bent arm shots. Trying to outbox Usyk probably isn't the best idea, despite having done all that work with Angel and Joby. But I still don't think it would be a good idea to go and do. What would happen? You see the rounds slipping away from him, getting further and further away from him. And before he realizes, he'd have to revert to, okay, now I need to go and knock him out.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Great analysis as always. And look, before we go, Did you see the video from Deontay Wilder that he released a couple of hours just before the fight?
So
What's your reaction to that?
I watched some of it on your page, and I saw the music they added. Oh man,
I didn't put that music in. Did you add that music? I was like, no, I didn't add that music.
It just makes me cringe all the time. I'm not a massive fan. Like, I don't mind Wilder, but these little stunts and things he adds, and it's like he cuts a WWE promo. Like, you grazed the skin of my ear, and now I'm gonna. Like, oh, come on, you lost the fight. Come on, let's move on. Try and get your third fight. Try and run it back that way. Don't send out these silly little videos. It's a waste of time.
Yeah, totally agree, man. Totally agree. Well, listen, coach, it's good to grab you on as always, man. And going to be doing another fan talk in a couple of weeks, so it'd be great to have you back on that again. And as always, I appreciate the love, man. Thank you for the support.
No worries at all.
Thank you, bro.